Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week we're on episode 110.
110?
Yes, and we are talking about Gangsters.
Yes.
So stick around if you want to hear more. Hello there.
Hello. Who are you?
My name's Connor. I'm the son of Father and Sundays. And who are you?
I'm David. I'm the father of Father and Sundays. And what
Glad
do
we
you
got that out
do?
of the
What
way.
do you
What do I do?
Yeah.
Sometimes I sit here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I lay over in the bed over there.
All right. Okay.
What do you do?
I do lots of different things. Yeah. My things that I do are not limited to sitting over there and laying over there.
No, mine aren't limited, but that's just some of the things I
it's
do.
just some of the things.
Yeah,
Aren't it?
some of the
It's
things
the
I do.
highlights. Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you do as part of the podcast is concerned? What's
Part
your,
of my podcast.
Yes. Apart from correcting my language
so
and
one of my
and
main
grammar.
jobs is correcting you.
Yeah. How do you think that's going then?
Very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So my main jobs is correcting you, but the other aspects of the podcast is I'm the main host.
Wow, we're back to that again, aren't we?
Yep. Also, I edit the podcast.
You're weighing something.
I do the audio editing of the podcast. So I do edit the podcast.
Oh, you are quite technical,
I
aren't
do
you?
the digital assets for the podcast.
Digital assets? I didn't know we had digital assets.
Yep. The design, graphic design aspect of the podcast.
Oh, I like
do
that.
the upload to the podcast hosting platform, and I also do the upload to the website.
Mm-hmm.
I also do somewhat prep for the podcast, depending on what the podcast is.
And can you define somewhat?
Depending on what the podcast is and what I need to do, I'll prep for it.
It could go from nothing to quite a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Today's nothing.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, dear. Oh, right, okay. All down
But I
to me
still do
then.
the other stuff.
Oh,
no,
you do?
No, it's not all down
you
to you, because I do all the other stuff.
You do it. No, I meant for the prep of the content.
I was going to say, because it makes it sound like you do all of it.
No, that's exactly why I said
feel like
this.
this is what sometimes you say. You say, you don't do anything for this podcast, but I do.
You do so much for this podcast.
My presence is the most important part.
I mean, let's face it, even at a basic level, if you didn't do what you did, there wouldn't be a podcast anyway.
Yeah.
It was your idea in the first place.
It would just be father, but he wouldn't know how to upload it to the internet.
So I'd just be sitting in a room talking to myself, which, to be fair,
see, if it was, it could be Sundays, but it'd just be me talking about nothing.
Well, no, you talk about subjects you were interested in, surely.
What's happened to your voice?
I don't know. It started cracking.
You going through puberty?
Yes, I think I may do. Right, that'll be interesting in this podcast.
If you go through puberty in this podcast?
In this podcast, as I'm doing this podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
See your facial hair growing.
Well, it grows to a... Oh, it's really itchy now. It's longer than it normally is. It's nowhere near as long as the badger you've got strapped to your chin, but it's fairly long for me, and it itches. I don't know how you do it. Is it like growing your hair? It goes to a stage where...
No, so the way I do it is I pinch my nose,
yeah,
and I push really hard until it's like Play-Doh coming out.
Oh, fantastic. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that with my head and do that with
it's
my
like
hair.
one of those things that you get the Play-Doh things and you crush it and then the Play-Doh comes out
it
like
looks
spaghetti.
fantastic. I like
That's
that.
what happens to my hair.
Play-Doh barbershop, I think you'll find that.
Yep.
Is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but they also do other stuff like Play-Doh spaghetti shop.
Spaghetti shop. Yes. Okay. What's happened to you this week? Anything exciting before we move on to the subject matter in hand?
Been watching the Women's World Cup.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
And how's that going?
The England ladies they've won both their games so far.
2 out of 2, isn't it?
Yep. The first one, not by much.
Yeah.
Both were 1-0, weren't they?
I was going to say the second one was 1-0 as well, so I didn't know where you were going to go with that.
The second one they scored in the first 6 minutes,
Oh,
and
that's
then
so annoying.
and then the rest of the game was just on.
Yeah.
Is it 10 to hooks?
Tender Hooks,
Tender Hooks, yeah.
which is a good tie-in to the gangster theme today.
And then I felt a bit inspired, so I've been playing FIFA.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you went outside and started kicking a ball about.
No. I've been playing FIFA on my PlayStation.
And did you lay over there to do that?
I laid over there to do that.
Right, it's all
But
tied
now
in.
you've cleaned off that chair.
Yeah, you can't lay over there now, can you?
No, well, I can't lay over there because you put all the stuff there. But now you've cleaned off that chair, I could sit on that chair to play it if I wanted to.
You could move the chair around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
No, actually, it's excellent. I mean, it's quite
happened.
exciting.
Oh, look, there's big empty space there where a box has been moved. You helped with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So your room's looking a little bit better than normal.
Oh, and we drove Becky. We spoke about last episode. We spoke about Mexico.
Mexico. So, I nearly said Samantha then.
Samantha
is what I
Becky.
call him because that's his real name.
That's his birth name, isn't it?
Becky and Samantha.
That's his legal name.
Yeah. No, but we took them to the airport last night.
I don't even know a Samantha.
I don't even know Samantha. Yeah, we took them to the airport last night. We
Yes.
took them to various parts of the airport last night.
did.
So
We got a bit
because
lost.
we went to take them to where they were staying overnight in a hotel, and then they went in, and luckily we didn't go.
We went to the we went to the hotel. We got confused, so we drove around to another hotel.
And they said, "Oh no, this is it."
And they said,
then I
"No,
went
this
in
isn't
there.
it."
This isn't it. So we had to come out there. We ended up eating and then going to the right
McDonald's
hotel.
took a long time, though, didn't it?
It was unbelievable. I got
Did you have
very
a bath
cross.
last night?
No,
No, because you forgot your phone, didn't you?
I did.
And you hadn't done your Duolingo.
No, the most important thing for me when I got home was to do my Duolingo, because otherwise
You did
I've
do
got
it,
a
didn't you?
285 day
Kill
streak
streak.
on it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, yes. See, I did.
Yeah. But anyway, they're currently at time of recording. They're on
On
a
a plane.
flight to Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Mexico. And when this podcast releases,
Yeah,
tomorrow they will be in Mexico.
Yeah.
So
And how many shirts do you
enjoy
reckon Sam would have worn by the time we get
well,
day one?
Becky's done all the packing for him, so don't tell security there when they go. Did you pack your
Pack
bag
your own
yourself?
bag? No.
No, because when he went to Poland as well, Becky packed all of his stuff for him.
Really?
He didn't
That's
even check.
dangerous.
He didn't even check he had his passport.
No way.
No, Becky just had his passport. She didn't even ask him. Ask
Samantha,
her.
you're going to have to sort yourself out.
Yeah, I honestly think he would struggle if he wasn't married to Becky.
Well, we would think that.
Although,
wouldn't
to be fair, Becky is one that just does everything for people, and then to the point of people no longer expect it.
we? I
Will do it
suppose,
themselves,
we
I
all
guess.
become like sort of lazy.
Yeah. Like I just
not
expect her
saying
to
you're
bring
lazy,
me
Sam.
food from Co-op.
Yeah, and she
Yeah,
does.
she does.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
So that's exciting for them. It's their kind of proper honeymoon. They went on
Yeah.
a few days break down to Dorset, didn't they?
yes, this is their second honeymoon.
Second
Honeymoon part 2.
part 2.
But they, so Becky packed a lot of shirts for him at his request. I believe it was around 30.
And they're going for 10 days,
They're
aren't
going
they?
for 10 days.
So he's got 3 shirts each day.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that-
she may have exaggerated the 30, but she told me 30.
So there's like a casual, a smart, and a spare, I guess.
There's one for each day. There's also one for by the pool for each day.
Wow.
And there's also one for dressing up and
Do you
going
know,
out
I
nice
think he's going
each
to be
day
the
as well.
best
And
dressed
2
man.
of the days he's on a plane, so what's the point? He
in
doesn't even need to
Mexico.
have the plane.
I wear flannel shorts when I'm travelling because I can't stand travelling with loads of stuff on. But
I wear
he
just a
looks-
flannel.
He does look cool, though, doesn't he? He's a cool dude. If people say that anymore.
No.
No. Okay, well, a couple of things that happened to me. I had to. I
happened
don't
to
want
you?
to go into the car situation because it's painful at the moment. I'm still having to borrow a car and get on the train. And the other day when I was on the train, I was sitting there minding my own business, listening to something on my earbuds when a couple of people got on, started walking up, chatting away, not paying attention, and the girl turned round and sat down. But she didn't sit down on a chair. She sat down on my lap.
I've been waiting for this because I didn't ask about this at the time. She sat down on your lap.
She sat down on my lap, and the other
Bet
girl
she
that was
was
with
mortified.
she was. I was shocked. She was mortified. She jumped straight up, and she's going, "I'm so sorry." And the other girl, it looked like it was going to be the best day of the other girl's life because she looked like that was going to continue
Was
on. I
it
bet
proper-
she's sitting somewhere now telling someone that story.
Was it proper sit down?
Yep.
Full weight.
She. I don't know.
What was your face? I know.
I was thinking she's getting a bit
Pull
near.
the face you did. Wow, that was a proper shock to face.
It was, because I don't know. I can't remember whether the seats are red
Eyebrows were
because I
up.
was wearing red, whether she didn't see that. But she was so engrossed, she kind of backed in. But I wouldn't do that. And I thought, oh, she's going to sit right next to me. Why is she going to sit right next to me? But she hadn't even noticed I was there. She sat
So
right
fair
down.
enough to her. She didn't know you were there.
Oh, no, she didn't do it on purpose.
Where did they go after this? Did they go even further up
They
the
went further
train?
down the train, yeah. But I could still hear them laughing.
I bet they tried to get as far away as possible.
They were only in the next bit, but I could hear them. The one who was the friend of hers was crying. She was laughing so much.
Did they speak to you afterwards?
No.
They
did. They said,
do
"I'm
it.
so sorry." I said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry." Oh, I can't believe it. I'm so sorry. I said, "It don't matter. Don't worry about it." But she was mortified, and the other one was absolutely in bits. But that was all right.
Were you
Doesn't
embarrassed
matter.
by it?
I was a little bit embarrassed.
Are you
by
embarrassed
it, yeah.
now?
No, not anymore. No.
Oh, right, that's good.
Yes. So yeah, that's about the most exciting thing that happened to me this week. So there you go.
Oh.
So perhaps we ought to get on to the subject matter.
Oh, the subject matter is
Gangsters.
Gangsters.
The Gangsters. Now,
Like my nan.
like your gangster nans, both of them really.
Yeah.
One in a different way to the other. One was proper gangster, like East End gangster,
East End gangster, yeah.
and the other one's more subtle, and I imagine could turn violent at any second.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't guess, So a real
One's
sort of
like
mix.
Essex boys.
Yeah, it's like the
Or the Cray twins.
it's like the Cray twins, only two elderly ladies, which the Cray twins weren't.
Were they not?
No, they weren't. No. Anyway, we talked about crime in our Crime and Punishment podcast.
Yeah.
Which was
I forgot about that.
episode 87.
Oh, so we've already done it. So
No, we
don't do
haven't
this one.
really, because gangsters. The idea of gangsters and gangs.
When did
and
we
I
do
do
hurdlers
appreciate,
and murderers?
Oh, that was in. That might even been in the Olympics, because I think no, it wasn't in the Olympics. No, it might have been. Yeah, because it was in the Olympics, because it was always hurdlers. It just wasn't always murderers. But I couldn't find enough people that because it was going to be hurdlers and curdlers, and I was going to have dairy people.
I thought you were going to do plumbers and runners or something like that.
Oh no, is it plumber? That was even better. Plumbers. No, it started off hurdlers and curdlers, and I was looking for dairy farm people, and then there was nothing interesting, and then it was runners and plumbers.
No way.
What?
No way there wasn't anything
No.
interesting.
And the runners and plumbers, and even plumbers though was just people's names.
No
So,
offense to dairy farmers, by the way, but...
yeah. Anyway, yeah, no offence to plumbers either, but in the end we plumped for.
And it's a classic.
Yeah, well, wait until the end of this particular podcast, because your quiz, and I won't give too much away about it, but it is a quiz,
No way.
is a similar sort of thing. But we'll get to that towards the end. Anyway, we talked about crime, and we talked about how
Be
popular...
Gangsters or pranksters?
That's exactly what it is.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what
That's
it is.
hilarious. I was just thinking what rhymes with gangsters.
Yeah, well done. No, sport, yeah.
Sorry.
Right, but anyway,
Everyone forget that.
You'll enjoy it.
Forget that.
You'll enjoy it. Right, we'll get to the end of it. I quite enjoyed putting it together. But we might have touched on it then. But crime, like, it doesn't matter what media. I mean, what I'll say. Sorry, I was going to say at the beginning is I do appreciate that crime isn't victimless. And gangs. And if you think about, I'm going to talk about a few bits and pieces here. I'm not trying to make light of it, because obviously it is a serious subject and a serious problem. But I'm talking about these ones that are very much in high profile, and through probably more historically have been these major players in whatever country they were in at the time. So anyway, we love it. We lap it up.
You're talking about as a society.
As a society, we love it. We're
True
intrigued.
crime.
Yeah, true crime. We're intrigued by it.
Because we nearly did a true crime podcast instead of a... we didn't. This is a lie. We didn't nearly do a true crime podcast.
I was going to say,
I had been
who
watching
was that
though.
with? You have what?
I've been watching... I finished season 2 like a couple of weeks ago, but season 3 comes out soon. Murders in the Building. Only Murders in the Building.
Oh right, okay.
And that's
that looks like it's quite good.
It's got Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez. And the idea
Selena
being,
Martin Gomez.
yeah, and they've got like an obsession with. They listen to a true crime podcast, and then a murder happens in the building.
Oh wow, I didn't know what it was about.
And then they start a true crime podcast.
All right.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
cool.
really good. You should watch it.
I will watch it
It's
then.
on Disney Plus, and season 3, comes out on the 8th of August, I believe.
Right. As opposed
This
to
isn't
season 8 that
sponsored.
comes out on the 3rd of August. No?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
this isn't sponsored.
It isn't sponsored. It's just something you like. Just a
Something I like.
recommendation. That's nothing wrong with that.
Although if they wanted to pay me, I would happily take it.
That's very true. So, one of the whenever you get these lists of films, like iconic films through the years that people put as their favourite film, the best film ever, right? Nearly always near to the top of that is a film called The Godfather,
Yes.
right? Always in there, and actually the second one as well, Godfather 2.
Do you want me to do an impression?
Right, well, I'm going to come on to that. So if I give you lines, I might get you to say those lines. So you
Okay.
can say them in... So you're going to... So it's about the Corleone family. Marlon Brando played
It'd be
the
easier
Don.
if I had some grapes.
Yeah, you do need something in your mouth, actually, to do this. So, but then there was like The Godfather. Another one was Goodfellas,
Like the pizza.
Like the Pizza.
Yeah.
Mickey Blue Eyes with Hugh Grant in it. But about mafia families in the US, like Italian-American families.
Yeah.
But it's like... It's incredibly sort of fascinating, and I mean, these people do exist. I mean, these may be fictional characters, but families like that do exist. They do control these things. They have got a hierarchy in their gang, and they have this Don at the top, like the mafia have. So that particular film, Godfather, comes out with some iconic lines.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, what was you going to say?
No, I was going to... Because you're talking about US mafia stuff at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
All right, so the line, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Now that... Well, that sounds like someone else's impression.
does, doesn't
that
it?
sounds a bit Donald Trump, that.
Yeah.
You need to... Right,
I'm
okay.
going to make America great again.
Right, no, don't do that. I don't... Yeah, he's a criminal. But anyway, and then you insert name, sleeps with the fishes.
Insert name, sleeps with
No, you have to insert a name there.
Oh.
So anybody's name.
Hang on.
Ed Sheeran.
It's Sheeran, sleeps with the fishes.
That just sounds like something else. And one of ones I like, and we've quoted this quite a lot, on this, the day of my daughter's wedding, which is used all the time.
On this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
Oh, it's starting to get a bit more like it now. Now I'm gutted.
I've never seen the film.
No? Have you never
No,
seen it? No.
I've never seen the
Wow.
film. So that was me just...
But you knew what the character, you knew that. So
they often
it's-
mimic that in a lot of it. Like Zootropolis. Is it Zootropolis? It's called Zootopia in one country and Zootropolis in another.
Okay.
I think it's called Zootropolis in the UK. But that film's got a little like a mouse.
Oh, and the mouse
that
is
mimics
the
his, yeah,
Don,
God,
because it's so
yeah,
small, it
yeah.
makes it funny. But
It's interesting we're talking about this kind of stuff where Becky and Sam are going to Mexico, the home of the cartel.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I don't go venture into that sort of direction much. But, yes.
Just 'cause you don't want to freak them out.
I don't want to freak them out, no, just in case they start listening to us while they're over there. But it strikes me that I should have used that on this, the day of my daughter's wedding, because two of my daughters are married, or both my daughters are married, and I could have
And
easily done it.
You missed the
I should have
opportunity.
said... I should have said things like, you come to me with this cone of chips on this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
But you could, yeah. The thing is, you could have said it every time someone came up to you.
You asked me if I want ice in this on this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yeah,
I
you
wonder how
could-
people. I wish I'd have done it now. It's too late. It'd have been hilarious to keep doing it to everyone and see how many people I freaked out.
No. Oh, well.
Oh, never
Maybe
mind.
I'll get to do it one day.
Well, on this, the day of my son's wedding, I'll just have to do it like that, won't I?
Yeah, you could do.
Okay. Anyway, probably the most
It
notorious...
won't be as good, though.
No, it won't. I might just do it anyway. As daughter.
Thanks.
On this, the day of my daughter-in-law's wedding. Probably the most notorious or well-known gangster in the US was Al Capone, Scarface. Born in New York, he already made a name for himself before moving to Chicago, where his notoriety only increased. It was a time of prohibition, so a lot of the stuff was around, drinking clubs and gambling clubs, which was all illegal at that particular time. But he made a fortune out of it, become very well known, used to get applauded when he went to baseball games and this, that and the other. But the police couldn't get him. Every time they tried, no one would grass him
Doesn't
up.
Al Capone sound like a type of Italian ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway.
Like a wafer.
Undoubtedly, there was people killed. Valentine's Day massacre for a start. So there was lots of deaths, lots of maiming, and lots of crime going on. But they never were able to pin it on him. And what's bizarre is, eventually they got him on tax evasion. So he got put in prison. He didn't get put in prison for any of those other things. He got put in prison for not paying his taxes and got 11 years.
And that just shows you that tax is important.
It is important.
Driving to and fro from work 5 days this week. What on earth do you think I spied? Let's take a little peek. A middle-aged man playing knockdown ginger. Roger Federer on a train. A man being stung by 1,000 stinging nails. A dog doing a poo on another dog. Driving to and fro from work 5 days this week. That was some of the things I spied. See you in a few weeks.
Well, that was a brief sort of summary, very brief summary of the Mafia.
Well, I guess it was brief because we spoke for quite a while at the start, didn't we?
We did speak, and we spoke about other things as well, and you did your impression and all that sort of stuff. But what about UK gangsters?
UK gangsters.
Again, like, we have this fascination. One of the biggest programs in the last sort of, I don't know, 5 years or so, maybe a bit longer. Go on.
Game of Thrones.
No, it's not that, because that's not about gangsters, is it? I'm talking about Peaky Blinders.
Oh, right, I was going to make another guess.
Oh, was you? What was the other guess?
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
Right.
I thought it wasn't going to be anything to do with it. Anyway, it was Peaky Blinders, about a Birmingham gang.
Birmingham.
And that, again, I mean, people rave about it, but I've never seen it, but it's supposed to be really, really good. But that sort of puts a kind of, I don't know, it's a bit romantic, it's a bit sort of...
Yeah, it glorifies them, doesn't it?
It's making them look... I mean, these people were very, very dangerous people. And there's one of the things I'm going to come on to is about the Cray twins. And there's a line that people say, about honour amongst thieves, like that they have got a code. They have got certain things they do and certain things they don't. There isn't really. There's certain people might not have, might draw a line at certain things, but the majority of them are...
It's because they're more scared of each other.
Yeah.
They're more scared of each other than other people. So they do things to other people and do things against police because they're not scared of them, but they're scared of each other.
Well, yeah, so for instance, the Cray twins, right? And I know they're an obvious choice.
There's a reason wwhy the Mafia didn't really make it too much into the UK.
Well, no, but they probably did. They probably had, and the Crays did try to work with the Mafia as well. But undoubtedly they had influence here, but not in the same way. They weren't as visible. They probably had people, or they controlled certain things. Certainly their money was in the UK, and certainly their money was in London. But as I say, the Cray twins, right? Now,
Real
twins, born 10 minutes apart, I believe, something like that.
Same day?
First Ronnie, yeah, then Reggie.
You laugh, but twins can be born on different days.
It could be. No, you're absolutely right.
So if you had twins and they were born on January, one was born January the 1st, and the other one was born on December the 31st. They'd be born in different years as well, wouldn't they?
They would be. That would be really. I bet there is people that's happened to, but sadly not those.
So we're twins. Oh yeah, when's your birthday? Well, mine's the 31st December. Mine's the 1st January. We're on different years.
Yeah,
mad. Anyway, carry on. Great twins.
Anyway, thanks for that. Yeah, they were born into a family. They had an older brother called Charlie. Their dad was never around.
Charlie
Cray, yeah. Their dad was never around because he was...
Twins their surname?
No. Okay. Because they were always on the run. He was always on the run from... Because he didn't serve in the army. He should have served in the army, so he was always on the run there. So he was obviously high. He hid in... He was under the table once in their house when the police come around looking for him. He was in a cupboard and he was in different places. He was hardly ever there. But then,
unless he was under their table.
Unless he was under the table and in the cupboard. But they had this really strong mother that they loved and an aunt that lived right near them as well that they adored them. But they grew up. They were apparently, and I've seen various documentaries. I've seen the films that have been made, and also I'm currently listening to an audio book of their own words about that was put together obviously before their deaths, but it was put together in their own words, telling their own story. And it's interesting. They started off because they were born into the East End. It was a difficult place, very poor sort of place. So they got into scraps and everything. There was they were street urchins, put it like that, and they were probably a little bit tough, but nothing different from anybody else. And then they got in there. Granddad was a really good boxer in his day, and they got into the boxing, and they were incredible boxers. Yeah. And they could have gone on.
Knew someone who used to box with them.
Yeah, that's right. And they would have gone on quite. They were good enough that they could have been champions. They were that good. Although they were very different, even at that stage. I think Ronnie Cray, again in his own words, would just go straight in. No, not as much technique as Reggie Cray. He'd just batter people. And whereas Reggie Cray was more thoughtful, more methodical, would do, but they were both really good boxers. But then they got drafted into the army, but they didn't fancy that. So I think they were there a day, and then they just hit someone and walked off and cleared off, and then they were on the run. And I think I read that they even went to Southend at one point. They nicked a car and with another bloke as well that was trying to skip doing the national service, and sent a postcard to the whoever the senior officer was at barracks. And when they went back there, they said, give him his due, it was stuck up on the board, wish you were here, from Southend. But they do things like, and this is what gets me with it, because that's why people had this thing about them, because there was elements like that. They would substitute themselves for each other, and I mean in quite serious situations, like if they were going to get in bother, the one that didn't do it would go there, so that if they did identify him or charge him and say, no, well, I'm Reggie, I'm not Ronnie. I wasn't there, I was somewhere else. And they often used to do that. They used to get each other out of scrapes all the time. They eventually got put into the Tower of London in prison there, because that's where the barracks was. So they were in the Tower of London, locked up for a while. But they had a big problem with authority, and that's what they talk about through all this, the book I'm actually reading at the moment, that they had their own idea of rules and regs.
You listening to the audiobook?
Yeah. What did I say?
You said the book you're reading.
The book I'm listening to. But yeah, through the 50s and 60s, they just started. They started as like goons for other gangs, and then they started wanting it for themselves. And they were respected, feared mainly, but respected. They did protection rackets, like they... sort of, so you know what that is, they go into a business and you might have gangs come in there and say, right, if you give us a percentage, we'll make sure no other gangs come in there. And a lot of them did it and set it up, and it was all them anyway. But they did go into these particular places and said, look, we'll look after you and we'll make sure no one touches you. Because there were a lot of gangs, there were still lots of other gangs around.
Yeah.
But mainly in the East End, a lot of different places. They had gangs on the docks, but then the docks become a bit obsolete because everything moved up to Tilbury because the ships were too big to come down into the Thames. So a lot of people were displaced like that. And it was a really poor area as well. But they started making money. And then they had, I mean, they bought clubs. They mixed with...
Talk?
I don't know if they Talk was one of them, but they...
Moo-moos?
No, you're going to name clubs that none of them
Pop
are going to
World.
be. No, then none of them are going to be any of the ones that you're thinking of. But they mix with people. I mean, they were always friends with quite big boxers and that because they were still really into it and all the rest of it. But they mix with people like Barbara Windsor famously was one of their friends, and people from like musicians and film stars. I think Frank Sinatra was, Liza Minnelli, who's famous. Yeah, they were all pictured with them because they mixed in those sort of circles.
And it's funny because this like the glorification of it is everyone's aware of who they were and what they did. Yet, to be fair, you wouldn't want to not be friends with them because you wouldn't want to be on the other side of them, I guess.
No, quite. But they created this sort of thing around them. But all this other stuff was going on. I mean, all amongst this, like I think it was. I'm not sure which one it was. They'd still go and mess with people, and if people were disrespectful to them or one of their gang, their firm, was touched in any way, someone came and caused trouble, they'd go and they'd properly sort them out.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no messing about. But they talked about it that even some of those people they would become really good friends with. I mean, they could potentially shoot someone and then become really good friends with them later on because it's kind of the way that world worked.
Yeah.
But it was bonkers. And they actually were were in prison before I was born, literally months before I was born. So I never really, but I was aware of them. I was aware of the legend, and I think that's what the latest film that Tom Hardy did about was called Legend. But I was very aware of them. I mean, they had a photo done by David Bailey, who was this famous photographer. He's a famous photographer. I don't know if he's still alive, who took all these incredible photos. But there's a famous one of the two of them, and lots of people do parodies of it now. Where you've got one standing behind the other in their suits and all the rest of it. But they were stars. They were famous.
Yeah. And and that was pretty local as well, wasn't it?
Well, it's in the East End.
Even more local, though, was like the likes of the Essex Boys.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a more recent sort of...
Do you remember the Essex Boys? Do you remember hearing about them?
I do remember about what happened. I do remember about the killings, and I did watch something a little while ago about it. And again, these people,
because they've had films come out, Rise of the Foot Soldier films, haven't they? And actually, interestingly, one of my colleagues at work, he was in one of the films.
Oh, was he an extra or something?
He was Rise of the Foot Soldier Origins, and he played a kebab man.
Did he?
Yeah.
What, a man dressed as a kebab, or someone selling kebabs?
So you know where Talk is, or Talk was. So we're talking about more like South End now.
Yeah.
So where that
Talk
club
of the
was,
South,
because that's the club, that they would have gone to and stuff like that. They did stuff like, is it 70s, wasn't it? That kind of era.
No, it's more recent than that, I believe.
80s. Anyway, they got people to like dress up like that and be extras in this club, and he turned up and was wearing all this stuff, this gear, and they went, Taylor. I've given his name right now. And I went, Taylor said, we don't want you to be a clubber. We want you to be a kebab man. And he went, is it because I look Turkish? And they went, yeah. And he went and worked in the.
Well, at least they were upfront about it, weren't they? Oh no, that's quite cool actually to do anything like that. But they were, again, from what I gather, elements the gangs that were involved there had started to. I think they get to the point where they believe their own hype, and the cars they drive have got to be a certain way, and the women that are with them have got to be a certain way, and the houses have got to look a certain way. And I think one of the guys out of when you talk about the Essex boys, one of the guys that was involved was one of the ones who was involved in the murders of the other guys. He was getting paranoid. He was getting really paranoid that people were after him, and that was a similar thing that happened to the Crays, because Ronnie Cray had quite bad mental health, and he was in and out of mental institutions. In fact, one of the ones he got out of, when I say about him doing that, Charlie and Reggie went in there. Reggie went to the toilet, so did Ronnie. He changed into his pyjamas, went and got in bed, and then Ronnie and Charlie walked out of there, and a bit later on Reggie went, I'm going to go home now. And I said, you can't go home. He said, well, I can. I said, you can't, you're in here for... No, I'm Reggie. I don't know where Ronnie is. And they do things like that. But yeah, but he had some serious problems, and later on, quite, bad. I mean, later on, he became so paranoid that anybody was sitting there talking, he was very, very violent. I mean, he went quite famously into Blind Beggar pub. One of the guys in there had disrespected him and picked on one of his guys, and he went in there and shot him. Just shot him in cold blood. No one came forward because they were all so scared of him. So he actually got away with that to a certain extent. They were in and out of prison for different things, but never anything...
Tax evasion.
Well, no, not so much that, but the police were trying to get him for a long while and kept sort of closing stuff down and all the rest of it because of it. But they couldn't quite... Because no one would speak up. Even the other gangs particularly would... because they know that same thing would happen to them. But there was getting worse and worse, and he had another gang called the Richardson Gang, who were a South of London gang, and they wanted in on this all mafia stuff and all the rest of it, but they were playing about. There was one particular guy there as well called...
just checking your notes, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just checking my notes so I'm getting it right, but George Cornell, and that...
Cornetto?
No, George Cornell, and then you've got...
What kind of ice cream do you reckon that is?
No, I don't know. You do this all the time. Didn't someone tell you do this quite a lot when I'm trying to move things forward and you just go...
Yes, they did, yeah.
Yes. But...
That's another thing. I should have added that to the things I do at the start of the podcast.
Yes, you should have. That's exactly what you should have done. But that was the one that he killed in the Blind Beggar, George Cornell, which was part of the Richardson gang. Another one of their gang was Mad Frankie Fraser, who I've seen interviewed a number of times, and actually become really good friends with the Crays in later life and that. But
yeah, well, they walked a similar path, didn't they?
They walked a similar path, but they were rivals to a certain extent. But I think that was their undoing. They got to the point of no return, and when I think because Reggie was married and then his wife committed suicide, she had a lot of mental health issues. He not really the same as well, Reggie, and he ended up I think Jack the Hat McVitie, his name was, or that was his nickname, the Hat. But McVitie, he was part of that gang as well, and he was taking a mickey out of his wife and saying things about what it was Reggie that did this or all this sort of stuff. And he just lost it. They invited him to this party. It had all been rigged up, and he just stabbed him multiple times and killed him. And I think they still thought, and in their words, they still thought, oh, they might get a few years, but they won't be. They got put away pretty much it was for life, because they both died in that sort of situation. So it's just, you see people, they get involved in this sort of stuff, they become something bigger than it. People love it. People flocked round them. But as soon as it went too far, everybody just dropped away from them. All of their gang turned on them and grassed them up. So the police had an easy job with it. But I remember, finally with that, I remember when the funerals, and even someone I worked with at the time went up there for the funeral. And in the East End, the roads were lined with people, while these horse and carriages with the coffin and everything was there.
Did they both die at the same time?
No, they didn't, no. But they were in two different institutions. I think, I'm trying to think who died first, actually, but one of them had cancer as well and came out of, only on compassionate leave, really, came out and wasn't alive for much longer than that. But people idolised them even then. And they'd been in prison for a long, long while, and they'd done all these things in the 60s. but people still saw them as heroes and still stood on the side of the road and bowed their heads and showed that sort of respect. Absolutely incredible.
Right, so shall we have a song now? Have you got a
Yes,
song?
I
Have you
have
done
a-
a song?
I have done a song.
Song for Gangsters?
I've done the Gangsters song. It's called Gangsters and Thieves. It's about a gang that me and you are part of.
Oh.
So I always wondered what it'd be like to be in a gang with you.
A father and son gang?
Well, it's a gang of some sort. What I would like to say before you play this song is, just as way of a warning, there are police sirens in it. I did catch myself out. I listened to it on the way to work just to check something on it. Forgot that I'd put that on it and nearly pulled over.
So there are police sirens on it, so don't pull over
If you're driving.
if you're driving.
It's
Although
in the
if
song.
there is
Oh,
really
actually,
a police behind you, then you should
that
pull
won't
over.
be a valid excuse if the police pull you over for not pulling over. All right?
All right.
Okay, play that
So you should
song
play,
then.
play the song. And watch out for the police sirens.
Gonna make an offer you can't refuse, unless you wanna end up in some concrete shoes. So come and join our gang and share the swag, but cross us and it's curtains for you, you slag. So climb in the van and meet the team. There's Nobby, Clive and Knuckles to name but three. One-eyed Eddie don't say much, probably 'cause he drinks so much toilet duck. It's like Reggie without Ronnie, like Clive without his Bonnie. A gangster is a gangster's best friend. Violence breeds more violence, you better keep your silence. You don't want to come to a sticky end. Jimmy's brought the shooters, Terry's got the tights. We're gonna nick some samples from Carpet Right. Bob's in charge of transport, our getaway driver. A little confused, he's got the face paint of a tiger. We pick up 2 more people and the gang's complete. There's Connor the Grinch and Dave Oddfeet. We're in and out in minutes, the perfect job. And we're soon some miles away thanks to Tiger Bob. It's like Reggie without Ronnie, like Clive without his Bonnie. A gangster is a gangster's best friend. Violence breeds more violence, you better keep your silence. You don't want to come to a sticky end. Sitting in the pub and drinking beer, having a good laugh, nothing to fear. Then all of a sudden the coppers run in, and the next thing I know I'm in a cell with a bloke called Glyn. It's like Reggie without Ronnie, like Clive without his Bonnie. A gangster is a gangster's best friend. Violence breeds more violence, you better keep your silence. You don't want to come to a sticky end.
Game time.
What a lovely song. Shall we play a game?
Shall we play a game? Do you want to play a game?
Yeah, I reckon the game should be something like Gangsters Gangsters and Pranksters, or Gangsters versus Pranksters, or something like that.
Okay, something like that. It's not quite that, because I didn't like the sound of that.
Or how about Gangster or the Prankster?
No, not that either.
Because that's
It's
the name
actually-
of your sting.
Is it?
Yep.
It's Gangster or Prankster.
You've put all the Prankster in it.
Okay, Gangster or the Prankster. Well, that's the sting name, but the actual quiz name is Prankster or Gangster.
So it's a quiz.
It is a quiz.
We've determined that earlier
It's a
in
quiz.
the podcast.
It's a... Well, if you played a sting and then I'll just give you a quick explanation of what it is.
Okay.
We're living in such dangerous times when men commit such heinous crimes. But are they real or just made up? I wonder if you'll guess.
Gangster.
Or the prankster.
What a lovely sting.
Did you enjoy it?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Prankster or gangster?
Gangster or prankster?
I'm going to give you a scenario and you have to guess whether it's a true story or not.
Oh.
And this is all about criminals.
What?
So I'm going to
Are you
read you out.
pranking me?
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to read you out a passage about a criminal, and you've got to tell me whether that's real or not.
Or
so
you've
you've
made
got
it
to
up.
say gangster, it's real, or prankster, you've made that up.
Oh, so you are pranking me.
Yeah.
I did not sign up to this.
Okay. I don't remember signing up for anything.
I thought it was going to
Okay.
be like, name, is this person a gangster? Or
Well,
would
no,
they
that
have
is at
a
the end.
Oh, okay.
So I've got 9 of these, and then you've got a series of ones. You've just got to tell me if these are real people or not, a gangster or prankster. But these as well. Okay, you made this far
So a
more
lot of
complicated.
questions.
Yeah, well, it's going to take longer if you keep interrupting me. First one. A would-be Welsh bank robber went into a local Barclays branch
They would be Welsh.
to do his banking and noticed all the cash in the tills. He came back half an hour later wearing a disguise of sunglasses and socks over his shoes, but was refused any money and fled. Just to let you know, he gave his full name and address the first time around too, so they were able to go round his house and arrest him. Is that a gangster or is that prankster?
Well, I don't know if you necessarily class him as a gangster because he's like a
Well, all right, loosely.
yeah, because it sounds like it was like an opportunist. I'm gonna go gangster though.
You're absolutely right. That's
Yeah.
a true story. Next one. A German man in his late 80s attempted to rob a jeweller's, but in the process of loading his bag full of watches and chains, he overfilled it and pulled several muscles in his back, trying to lift it over his shoulder, and was still bent over in the shop, unable to move, when the owner arrived in the morning.
Gangster.
Gangster?
Yeah.
That's prankster. That's not actually
what?
true. Okay, you
Oh,
ready
that's
for
a boring one to make up then.
Oh, I'm sorry. A group of extremists attempted to hijack a plane with a view to it being flown to their own country and for the passengers to be exchanged for some of their imprisoned compatriots. Unfortunately, the plane that they hijacked was a dummy plane used to train staff how to deal with various incidents, including hijacking.
Prankster.
Yes, that's prankster.
Because they don't have those type of planes.
They do. They do have planes that they
Yeah,
do.
but how would they get on that plane then?
Yeah, but it's false anyway, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not
but
real.
like you make it sound like they were posing
They
as
have dummy
passengers.
planes. They
yeah,
have
but you
dummy-
make them. Well, they're real planes.
Yeah, they're real planes.
But you're making them sound like they're
All right, you're making this more serious than it needs to be. Right, so you got that right. Great. In fact, I think you've got one wrong so far.
Yeah,
The
thanks for bringing it up.
The elderly German, a jewellery thief. Okay, right. The fourth one here. Another Welshman, this time from Bridgend, who tried to burgle a nearby hotel during its annual Elvis Presley convention. You probably think he dressed up as Elvis so as to blend in, but unfortunately this was not the case. He put a plastic bag over his head, which was problematic for a number of reasons, but his fate was sealed when he took it off and stared straight at the security camera.
Gangster. He did that.
That is absolutely true. And what I would say is when I looked at, you've got pictures of these people, so they've got the actual picture of him as he takes the plastic bag off
What
his head.
brand? Is it Sainsbury's?
Oh, no, I think it was just plain. They didn't want to trace him to where he was shopping and things like that. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
Right, next one. Identical twin sisters from Wyoming in US decided they could use their likeness as a great way of creating an alibi. So when one sister was robbing like the craze, when was robbing their local pharmacy, the other one was making sure everyone noticed her in a local bar, thus creating the alibi. The problem was that everyone in the town knew they were identical twins, and even if that wasn't enough, one of them had lost an arm in a motorcycle accident some years before, so their plan failed spectacularly.
Prankster. The language you used was like thus.
Damn. Yes, it is. I made that up, yeah. Oh, dear. I thought you'd get fooled by these. I thought these were all very similar and you wouldn't be able to get them.
Well,
Never mind.
not just a furry faced me.
Next one. What about this one? Back home, as in England, because that was in the US.
Because you're writing like a story.
A man
But there's
decided
gaps,
to rob
so-
a newsagent's, donning a balaclava and brandishing a toy gun. The heist didn't go quite to plan though, and in the process he removed his balaclava, fell over a drinks display, and then couldn't get out the door because he was pushing it, and it was a pull. The lady who was behind the counter had to come and let him out.
I feel like I've seen CCTV footage of this, so gangster. Even if he's not the one you talked about.
It is
Definitely
a
seen
gangster. He'd also tried to rob the shop 10 days earlier.
Nice.
But this, you don't have to be intelligent.
So just go, you again.
Oh, hello, Steve.
What would you like this time?
Yeah.
All the money in the till?
Remember, pull, not push. Anyway,
Did you
next.
get that right the way around?
Oh, I can't remember. Next one. A man in Glasgow
Was it
tried
you?
to rob a bookmaker while armed with a cucumber inside a black sock. The cashier refused to hand over the money, and the man was eventually tackled and pinned to the floor by a passing police officer who disarmed him and arrested him.
You struggled with that last bit, didn't you?
Who disarmed and arrested him.
Gangster.
That is a gangster one. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
absolutely true. He tried to rob a bookmaker, and I've seen it. It's just a cucumber in a black sock. It's so obviously a cucumber in a black sock. Question 8. Well, we're whistling through these, and you're doing really well.
It's all right. You've got another 30 questions in here.
No, that's all right. We'll go through them quickly. A woman with a striking resemblance to Taylor Swift was charged with several cases of fraud and deception after impersonating the US singer in meet and greets and guest appearances at a number of clubs. She was exposed after she was booked to open a restaurant which just happened to have some of Ms. Swift's family members dining.
Prankster.
Yes, it's a prankster. Oh, damn it. Right, so you've only got one more of these, and then I'm going to try you on something else and see if you can get them.
Okay.
And I think you're going to get this. 2 British tourists were prosecuted and deported after stealing a penguin called Dirk from SeaWorld in Queensland, Australia. They broke into the aquatic adventure park and caused mayhem before leaving with the confused bird. They were caught the next day when they were spotted trying to release Dirk into a nearby canal.
Oh, this was probably the trickiest one yet.
I was right to leave it to last then.
I'm going to say prankster.
It's gangster.
The only reason I was going to say prankster was thinking, I don't think they have SeaWorld in Australia.
Oh, they have. They were very drunk, the two of them.
Yeah, but the English side of
They
things
swam with the dolphins.
did make me think it was
They
true.
did something with a shark tunnel or whatever, something I can't remember, but they woke up in the morning really hungover and there was a penguin there, so they put it in the shower because they thought they had to keep it wet, and and they were incredibly
just drunk,
hungover.
they were also stupid.
As well, and and then they took it down to a local canal, and someone saw them doing it, trying to release it into the canal.
Yeah, they didn't. No one spotted them with the dolphins and stuff.
That was at night. They were in there. No. Security didn't see him, and they managed to get the Dirk the penguin out. I would say though, Dirk was perfectly okay. Maybe a little bit confused, but perfectly okay.
I could just imagine them waking up and see this penguin just standing in the corner,
Yeah. What the hell?
just standing there,
Anyway,
or sleeping between them. Or
here's
something.
your last question or questions. Many gangsters had nicknames. For instance, Al Capone had the nickname of Scarface. But can you tell which of the following list are real gangsters or made-up hoodlums?
Oh, so none of these people are pranksters.
Well, you can still say prankster if you think it's wrong. So here's the first one.
I was wondering if they were
Joseph.
Practical Jokers or something.
Joseph Junior Lollipops Garner.
Prankster.
That is a gangster.
Junior Lollipops.
Junior Lollipops Garner. Luigi Baby Shark Cappuccino.
Prankster.
Yeah, I realised that did look pretty stupid.
Right, I think I got this now.
Luigi Baby Shacks Manachicho.
A gangster.
Gangster. Johnny. Johnny Funbags Durante Jr.
Gangster.
Prankster. Who was he called? Funbags. Right, I've got to get through these.
You have, yeah.
Billy Special Brew Trowowski.
Do you want to try that last name again?
Trowowski.
Giraffe.
Trowowski. Trowowski.
Travosky.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the first bit?
Billy Special Brew Trowowski then.
Gangster.
No, he's a prankster. Why did I pick a name that I couldn't pronounce?
I don't know.
Oh dear. John the Nose de Amico.
Gangster.
Gangster. Joe Bananas Banano.
Prankster.
He's a gangster.
What?
I'm presuming they called him the Bananas because his surname was Banana. Right. Bobby train ticket Ferguson.
You okay?
Bobby train ticket Ferguson.
True. A gangster.
He's a prankster train ticket. What are you talking about? Donald. I know. Bob. Donald, the Wizard of Odds, Angelini.
Oh, gangster.
That was gangster.
Yeah.
Albert, TikTok, Tenenbaum.
What was the last bit?
Tenenbaum,
Oh, prankster.
gangster. Lala, spirit level, Ginelli.
Did you put these through a generator or something?
No.
Prankster. Gangster.
Which one?
Gangster.
It's a prankster. And the last one, Carlos, the Moose, Dieta.
Gangster.
No, prankster. You were rubbish at that bit. You were good at the other bit. Oh, my life. I need to get a proper job.
Wow.
Right, well done. And that and that is the end of me. That is the end of my little gangster and prankster quiz. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. It got better towards the end as well.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, I thought the other bit was all right.
Yeah, the
It's
other bit was
just
all
that
right,
you
just
were
got
too
better.
good at it. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
So, yes, fascination with gangsters, but I'm very aware that these people were dangerous people and pretty horrible, really.
Yeah.
Even, you know, the funny ones like Joe Bananas Banana. Right.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, onwards
To where?
to the end of the podcast.
Oh, well, it is the end of the podcast. Just to let you know,
Yeah.
we've got no messages, but someone could send a message. They could do that via the website, fatherandsundays.com. They go to the Contact Us page, or you can email us at contactus@fatherandsundays.com. Website's got all the episodes available on there, but they're all available on your chosen podcast platform, although I believe Stitcher is disappearing, so it will no longer be on Stitcher,
All right.
because that will no longer be a thing.
Didn't even know that was a thing anyway.
I'm pretty sure at one
That's
point,
probably why it's dropped away.
early on the podcast, that's the only one you used to remember.
Yeah, because it's got a weird name, isn't it? Yeah.
Or was it that or Deezer?
Deezer and Bifocals was one.
Nope.
No? Okay. Right.
Yep. But yeah, go on the website. There's lots of stuff on there. We've also got social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and what was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
And also Threads is a thing now as well. Twitter, weirdly, over today, actually, they've fully changed their name, changed their branding to X.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because...
I didn't know what the hell it was.
I reckon, I know this is going off topic and stuff, we're trying to be closing out the podcast, but you know, like Hermes, or Herpes, everyone had, it was such a bad thing with Hermes, they rebranded to Every, so everyone would forget who they were and be fine with it.
Bit like herpes, really, yeah.
Yeah, a bit like herpes, rebranded to...
Cold sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Tiger.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think because he's created such a big stink about Twitter recently, like because of Elon Musk, I get the feeling he's just gone, right, we just change it and everyone forget about it.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, at least because he can make his changes now without everyone going, you're ruining Twitter. At least he goes, well, it's actually... But he might as well not have bought Twitter. It's frustrating because I used to like Twitter and now it irritates me.
Fair enough.
But anyway, there's that.
Okay.
We are on that. Like, follow, share. Those. We haven't actually done anything with our social media recently, and that will be coming to a change very soon.
Good. I'm glad. I'm looking
We've
forward to
fallen
that.
very behind with them.
We are. We'll get right on it. It'll be every other day or something like that. You'll see.
Or maybe every day at one point just to catch up.
Every day just to catch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all of everything then?
Yeah, with a little bit of extra stuff as well about Twitter.
Yeah, a little bit of extra stuff about Twitter. Very relevant.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for listening. If you are going to form or join a gang, make sure it's something like Picking Up Litter or the Cubs, Beavers or Girl Guides. So, goodbye from me.
All right. Bye.